I want to talk about the silent tyrant that rules the nights of so many of us over 60. It's not a nightmare. It's not the worries of the day. It is the bladder. Picture this. It's 3 a.m. You are in the middle of a deep, delicious, restorative sleep, the kind you've been craving all day. And then you feel it, that quiet, unmistakable pressure, that undeniable signal from deep in your body. For a second, you try to bargain with it. You tell yourself, maybe if I just roll over, maybe if I ignore it, it will go away. But you know it won't. You know it's a battle you've already lost. And just like that, the spell is broken. Your precious, hard-won rest is shattered for the first of what might be 2 or even 3 trips down a cold, dark hallway. That experience is so common, it's become a running joke about getting older. But I want to be very clear. It is not funny. It is a profound disruption to your health and your quality of life. That's why I am so thrilled to have our expert guide with us today. Dr. Evans is a leading urologist and an expert in pelvic health who has dedicated his career to helping people solve this exact problem. Dr. Evans, welcome to the Essential Health Podcast.
Thank you for starting with that story. You've perfectly described what millions of people experience every single night. And they often suffer in silence because they think it's just a normal, unavoidable part of aging.
That's the core of it, isn't it? The acceptance. In the medical world, this condition has a name, doesn't it?
It does. It's called Nocturia. Medically, it's defined as waking 1 or more times per night to urinate. And I need to stress this to everyone listening. While Nocturia is incredibly common as we age, it is absolutely not normal. It is a sign that something in the system is out of balance, and it is absolutely something that can and should be addressed.
That sentence right there, it is not normal, is going to be a massive relief for so many people to hear. It gives us permission to stop accepting it and start solving it. And that is our promise to you for this episode. We are going to deconstruct this problem from the ground up.
Exactly. We'll explore the real and often surprising reasons this is happening to both men and women. We'll bust some common myths, and then we're going to build a powerful, multi-level action plan to help you finally take back the night and sleep through until morning.
I can't wait. It feels like we're about to give people back their sleep, which is one of the most precious gifts there is. Let's dive in. Dr. Evans, when a patient comes to you with this problem, what is the first, most common assumption they make that you often have to correct? Okay, Dr. Evans, you left us with a fantastic question. What is the biggest misconception patients have when they first come to you about this problem? Where do they usually think the blame lies?
Almost without fail, people come in with a sense of guilt. They'll say, I know, I drank a glass of water too close to bed. They are convinced the problem is entirely their fault and is simply a matter of fluid timing. And while fluid management is certainly a piece of the puzzle, and we will definitely talk about that in our action plan, it is very rarely the root cause. It's usually just the factor that exposes an underlying issue.
So it's not just about the water. That's fascinating. So if that's not the main culprit, what are the real physiological drivers that are forcing people out of bed at night? Let's start with the men. For a man over 60, what is the first place you look?
For men, the first and most common suspect is the prostate gland. As men age, the vast majority experience a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. That's the medical term for a non-cancerous enlargement of the prostate. To understand how this affects urination, I want you to imagine your urethra, the tube that carries urine out of the bladder, is a simple garden hose. The prostate gland is like a donut that encircles that hose right at the base of the bladder. In a young man, that donut is small and soft, and the hose is wide open. Water flows through with great force. But as men age, that donut slowly, gradually gets bigger and a little firmer. As it expands, it begins to gently squeeze the garden hose.
So it's physically obstructing the flow.
Precisely. The stream becomes weaker, the flow is not as strong. But the biggest issue for nighttime urination is that this gentle pressure makes it very difficult to fully empty the bladder. You think you're finished, but a significant amount of urine is left behind. And because your bladder never fully empties, it naturally fills up to the "I have to go" signal much, much faster. So instead of taking 6 to 8 hours to fill up overnight, it now only takes 3 or 4. That's the primary mechanical reason BPH leads to nocturia.
That analogy is incredibly clear. Now, for women, it's a completely different anatomical story, isn't it? What are the primary drivers for them?
For women, the story is often about the two interconnected things, the pelvic floor and the hormonal changes of menopause. The pelvic floor is a brilliant web of muscles that acts like a supportive hammock at the base of your pelvis, holding up your bladder, uterus, and bowels. Childbirth, gravity, and time can all cause this hammock to lose some of its strength and tension. A less supportive pelvic floor can cause the bladder to sit a little lower, changing the angle of the urethra. This can lead to issues like incontinence, but also a persistent feeling of urinary urgency. But the bigger piece of the puzzle for women over 50 is the loss of estrogen.
The master hormone strikes again.
It truly is. The entire urinary tract, the bladder lining, the urethra, is rich with estrogen receptors. Estrogen is what keeps these tissues thick, healthy, elastic, and well supplied with blood. As estrogen levels decline during and after menopause, these tissues can become thinner, drier, and more irritable. This is a condition called genitourinary syndrome of menopause, or GSM. An irritable bladder is a bladder that sends the "I'm full" signal long before it's actually full. It becomes hypersensitive, which is a major driver of both daytime and nighttime urinary frequency.
So we have the prostate for men and the pelvic floor and estrogen loss for women. You mentioned earlier that there are also universal causes that affect everyone as we age. What are those?
Yes, and these are just as important. The first is that the bladder muscle itself ages. Just like any other muscle in the body, the detrusor muscle, which is the muscular wall of your bladder, can become less elastic. It simply can't stretch to hold as much volume as it could when you were 30, so its capacity is literally smaller. But the most fascinating universal cause, and the one that is almost purely a function of aging, is a shift in a crucial hormone called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH.
Let's break that one down.
ADH is a wonderful hormone. I like to call it the hormone that tells your kidneys to go to sleep. During the day, your kidneys are working hard, filtering your blood and producing urine. But at night, in a young, healthy person, your brain releases a surge of ADH. This hormone travels to your kidneys and gives them a very clear message. Hey, it's nighttime. We're trying to sleep for 8 hours. Please slow down urine production significantly. And the kidneys obey. But one of the unfortunate quirks of aging is that our bodies naturally produce less of that nighttime surge of ADH. The memo doesn't get sent as reliably. So your kidneys, instead of slowing down, continue to produce urine at a more daytime rate even while you're asleep. Your bladder simply fills up much faster than it's supposed to. So instead of taking 6 to 8 hours to fill up overnight, it now only takes 3 or 4. That's the primary mechanical reason BPH leads to nocturia.
That analogy is incredibly clear. So to summarize, it's a perfect storm. For men, a prostate that's preventing the bladder from fully emptying. For women, a loss of tissue health and support from menopause. And for everyone, a bladder that holds less and kidneys that produce more urine overnight. When you put it all together, it's no wonder so many people are waking up.
Exactly. And when you understand these root causes, you realize that the solution isn't just to drink less water. The solution has to be a multi-pronged approach that supports these systems directly. It's about emptying the bladder more efficiently, strengthening our foundational muscles, and managing our body's fluid and hormonal signals more intelligently.
Dr. Evans, that was one of the most clarifying explanations of this problem I have ever heard. You've taken the shame out of it and replaced it with science, which is so empowering. So now for the part everyone has been waiting for. We understand the why. Let's build the how. Let's create the Sleep Through the Night toolkit. Where do we begin?
I like to structure this as a series of pillars, starting with the simplest, most immediate changes you can make, and then building up to the more foundational work. So let's start with pillar 1, the lifestyle levers. These are things everyone can start doing tonight.
Okay, simple and immediate. We love that. What's the first lever we should pull?
The first is the most obvious, but we need to get very specific. It's the fluid curfew. I ask my patients to establish a hard stop for all fluids 2 to 3 hours before their intended bedtime. If you plan to be in bed by 10 p.m., your last sip of anything should be at 8 p.m. or even 7 p.m. And the word fluids is key. It's not just water. That herbal tea, that glass of milk, even a bowl of soup or a juicy orange for dessert counts as a fluid that your kidneys will have to process.
That's a fantastic point about the hidden fluids in food. What's the next step in this lifestyle pillar?
The next is to become a bladder irritant detective. Certain common substances have a diuretic effect, meaning they make you produce more urine, or they directly irritate the bladder lining, making it feel full and urgent. The big 4 are caffeine, alcohol, spicy foods, and highly acidic foods like tomatoes or citrus.
So it's not just the coffee in the morning, but that afternoon cup of tea or diet soda could be the culprit for a 3 a.m. wake-up call.
Absolutely. Caffeine has a very long half-life. The coffee you drink at 3 p.m. can still be significantly impacting your system at 10 p.m. My rule of thumb is to treat these substances like the sun. They should go down in the afternoon. Make a rule for yourself. No caffeine or alcohol after 4 p.m. For many people, that one change alone is a complete game changer.
That's a clear and actionable rule. Is there a final technique in this first pillar?
Yes, and it's a simple but powerful habit to build right before you get into bed. I call it the double void. The void is just the medical term for urinating. So often we rush to the bathroom right before bed, we're distracted, we're thinking about other things, and we don't fully empty our bladder. The double void technique is simple. Go to the bathroom as you normally would. Then, before you get into bed, wait for a full 60 seconds. Sit back down on the toilet, take a few deep breaths to relax your pelvic muscles, lean forward slightly, and see if you can release a little more. You will be shocked at how often there is more urine waiting. By ensuring your bladder is as empty as possible, you are buying yourself precious extra hours of uninterrupted sleep.
I love that. So practical. Okay, we've managed our fluids and our triggers. Let's move on to pillar 2, physical fortification. This sounds like the more long-term foundational work.
It is. These are the exercises that physically strengthen the systems that control our urinary function. And the absolute king of these exercises is the pelvic floor contraction, more commonly known as the Kegel.
Now, Dr. Evans, this is so important. I think 99% of people listening, especially men, hear the word Kegel and they think, that's not for me, that's for women after childbirth. Can you please bust that myth for us?
It is the single biggest myth I have to fight in my practice, and I am so glad you asked. The pelvic floor is a muscular hammock that both men and women have. For men, these muscles are absolutely critical for supporting the prostate and the bladder. A strong pelvic floor helps you maintain a strong stream, prevent leakage, and yes, it absolutely helps you have more control over your bladder function overnight. Think of it this way. If your prostate is the squeezed garden hose, strengthening your pelvic floor is like adding a powerful, intelligent nozzle to the end of that hose that gives you back precise control over the flow.
So how do we do them correctly? So many people do them wrong.
The biggest mistake is tensing the wrong muscles. People clench their abs, their buttocks, their thighs. The movement is subtle and internal. The easiest way to find the right muscles is to try to stop the flow of urine midstream the next time you are in the bathroom. That internal clenching sensation, those are your pelvic floor muscles. Once you've identified them, you don't need to practice while urinating. You can do them anywhere. Lying down is easiest at first. Squeeze and lift those internal muscles for a count of 3, then relax completely for a count of 3. That's 1 rep. Aim for a set of 10 a few times a day. It is an invisible exercise that has a profound impact.
That's fantastic. I'm doing them right now as we speak. What's the next strategy in this physical pillar?
This next one is a surprising but incredibly effective tip, especially for people who notice they have swollen ankles or feet at the end of the day. This is a sign that fluid is pooling in your lower extremities due to gravity.
Which is so common for people who stand or sit all day.
Exactly, and what happens is when you finally lie down flat in bed, gravity equalizes and all that fluid that was trapped in your legs rushes back into your bloodstream. Your kidneys then see this excess fluid and say, "Time to get to work," and they start to produce a large volume of urine right when you're trying to sleep. The strategy is to elevate your legs for an hour before bed. Lie on the couch or the floor and prop your feet up on some pillows above the level of your heart. This allows that fluid to recirculate and be processed by your kidneys before you go to sleep, not after. It's like pre-processing your nighttime urine. It can make a huge difference.
These are all such powerful, proactive strategies. But as a physician, I know it's also crucial to know when to stop trying to solve things on our own and seek professional help. At what point should someone listening make an appointment with their doctor or a specialist like you?
This is the most important message I can share. While nocturia is often benign, it can also be the first and most prominent symptom of several serious, undiagnosed medical conditions. Your body might be trying to tell you something important.
What are those red flag conditions that nocturia can be pointing to?
The biggest one that often gets missed is obstructive sleep apnea. This is a condition where you stop breathing for short periods during the night. When this happens, it puts a strain on your heart, and your heart releases a hormone that tells your kidneys to excrete more fluid. For many of the patients I see, especially men with enlarged prostates, we treat their sleep apnea and their nocturia vanishes almost overnight because we fixed the root cause. The second is undiagnosed type 2 diabetes. When your blood sugar is high, your body tries to get rid of the excess sugar through your urine, which means you produce a much larger volume of urine, both day and night. And finally, it can also be an early sign of heart or kidney issues. So my clear clinical advice is this. If you have diligently implemented these lifestyle changes, you've managed your fluids, you're avoiding irritants, you're doing your pelvic floor exercises, and you are still consistently waking up more than twice a night, it is absolutely essential that you see a physician for a full workup. We need to make sure we're not missing a bigger underlying problem.
So the takeaway is, treat nocturia seriously. It's not just a nuisance, it's a key piece of data about your overall health.
That's exactly right. Listen to your body. It's trying to talk to you.
Dr. Evans, I'm sitting here just processing. I think for years, I've seen this issue as an isolated, frustrating symptom, a simple annoyance. But what you've laid out today is a completely new paradigm. You've shown us that it's a complex issue with deep connections to our anatomy, our hormones, our lifestyle, and even our overall cardiovascular and metabolic health. You've given us a language to understand it.
That's the entire goal, Anya. Shame and mystery thrive in silence. When we can give a name to something, okay, this is about my prostate, or this is about the loss of estrogen and its effect on my bladder tissue, or this is my ADH hormone shifting. It loses its power over us. It moves from being a mysterious betrayal to being a solvable biological problem. It's a problem we can create a plan for.
And what a clear plan it is. I want to summarize the toolkit you've given us because it's so powerful. You've essentially given us a step-by-step guide to taking back our nights. It starts with the lifestyle levers, things we can do immediately. The fluid curfew, stopping all liquids 2 to 3 hours before bed, and remembering that includes things like soup or fruit. Becoming a bladder irritant detective, and being mindful of those big four: caffeine, alcohol, spicy, and acidic foods, especially in the afternoon. And that wonderfully simple but effective technique, the double void, to make sure the bladder is truly empty before we even get into bed. Then you gave us the physical fortification, the long-term work. I don't think I will ever forget what you said about Kegels being for men too. That's a huge myth buster. The idea of strengthening that pelvic hammock is such an empowering visual for both men and women. And the surprising tip of elevating your legs before bed to pre-process the day's fluid, that's a brilliant piece of practical magic.
They are all small hinges, but they swing very big doors. It's the consistency of these small habits that creates profound change over time.
And finally, and I think this is the most critical message for our listeners today, you gave us the wisdom of knowing when to seek help, reminding us that our bodies were trying to talk to us, and that waking up multiple times a night can be a red flag for other serious conditions like sleep apnea or diabetes. The call to action is clear. If you've tried these things and you're still waking up more than twice a night, please go see your doctor. It is an act of profound self-care.
I want to end with a quick story, if I may. I had a patient, a 65-year-old retired teacher, who had been waking up 3 to 4 times a night for almost a decade. He just accepted it as his new reality. His wife ended up sleeping in another room because he was up and down all night. He felt disconnected, chronically tired, and his joy for life was just fading. He was living in a perpetual state of jet lag. We worked through this exact toolkit. He started with the fluid curfew. He cut out his evening glass of wine. He diligently did his pelvic floor exercises while watching the news every night. After 3 months, he came back to my office, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, "I slept for 7 straight hours last night for the first time since my 50s. I woke up and it felt like the world had gone from black and white to color." And then he said the most important part, "And my wife has moved back into our bedroom." That's what this is about. It's not just about urination. It is about restoring the quality of your life, the quality of your energy, and the quality of your relationships. A full, uninterrupted night of sleep is not a luxury you have lost to age. It is a fundamental part of your health, and you absolutely have the tools and the right to reclaim it.
Dr. Evans, what a powerful, hopeful story to end on. That is the perfect encapsulation of why this work is so important. Thank you. Thank you for your time, for your wisdom, and for giving our community so much clarity and hope today.
It has been my absolute pleasure, Anya. Thank you for having this conversation.
And to our incredible community listening, now it's your turn. We want you to be a part of this. Please go to the comments below and share your commitment with us. What is the one tip from today's conversation that you are going to try tonight? Is it the fluid curfew? The double void? Maybe it's finally making that doctor's appointment. Your story, your commitment, could be the final push that motivates someone else to take back their night too. If you found this conversation as valuable as I did, please show your support by giving this episode a like or a 5-star rating, and be sure to subscribe to the Essential Health Podcast so you never miss a conversation. Thank you so much for being here with us. Until next time, take good care of yourself.